Here's the final video in the RHC playlist. And what happened? What happened? What happened? I passed. I'm an RHCE. I'm an RHCE. My precious. Yes, it is done. It is done. And how do I feel? What am I feeling? I am feeling relieved, to be honest. Let's just put the cards on the table, spill the beans. This one was a lot for me. I've taken probably 9, 10, I don't know how many certifications over the last 4 years. And this one was the hardest for me. If you watch my playlist, you know that I keep forgetting commands. Jinja was the templating language, totally new to me. I keep forgetting the syntax, etc. So was the playlist, was my prep helpful? Let's go into that. Before we do that, let's quickly verify that I'm not lying. Here I am, my name, this is beautiful smile, and here is my RHCE. And I also got this one, and that's only because of the recent changes to the RHCE or the certification paths that Red Hat just did. So check out that video where I explain all that. So I got kind of a two for one. Nice, bada bada bing. You might be asking yourself, Linux Ninja, is there one video in your playlist that you would recommend that you should definitely watch to prepare for the exam? I would say no. It's an all or nothing thing, to be honest. And also, if you do Sander van Vogt's, that does not prepare you enough. If you just watch my playlist, that's not going to prepare you enough. It is, to be honest, it's a rinse and repeat thing. I've said it over and over again. Hands on keyboard, do it again and again. So your muscle memory kicks in, because I have never, ever been as stressed during an exam in my life. Okay. Do you know why? Because, to be honest, I'm not breaking an NDA. I'm not going to spill any beans, but to be honest, the first 5, 6 questions for me were easy breezy. And I thought, well, I'm just going to blow through this exam. Boy, was I wrong. Like I said, I've taken 9, 10 exams over the last 4 years, and this one was the first one I ran out of time. And that blew my mind. Not because I'm smart, but because, let's break it down. There was, as I said, first few questions, cocky, got this. Then there was a question that I didn't fully read through. And there was this like a spin at the end where I was like, whoa, I probably spent 10 minutes writing out the whole solution. And then it didn't fit at all because of the plot twist at the end. If you've been watching my mock exam, you know that I should read through the whole question. I did not heed my own advice, and that was a failure. So that question alone was probably 20-something minutes, a single question. And I'm not going to tell you how many questions there are. But anyways, I ran out of time. I was so surprised. Then the next question, heed my advice as I drink my meat, my fellow friends. It rocked my world because I can solve it. I have done it in the past with that exact same setup and honestly, the same question. I just got a mental block because it's been a minute since I've done that example. And I was like, oh, I'll just save that for later. And I'm going to come back to it, which was a good idea. So on the exam, if you're having a mental block, just check the box where you're going to check it. It's not done. You're going to come back to it later. That's my advice. Then the next question, I'm not lying. I could have cried. Like, I'm 46 years old. I'm Icelandic Viking. I'm not a small guy. I'm 6'2". I'm 250 pounds. I could have cried. I was like, with all my prep, to be honest, I sat there because the next question I just couldn't solve. And I'm not going to say I know after the fact. I solved it. I wrote it out correctly. But now I know after the fact what was going on, and I'm not going to tell you. But what I wrote out was correct, and it should have worked. It didn't work because of something else that it needed. I could have walked out of the exam. I was just like, I was done. 3 questions in a row where I was a failure, and I said, no, I put those 3 on hold, finished the rest, and I went back and I had 20 minutes or something left. Just to show you, I put 3 questions on hold. I had 20 minutes left, and I made it work. But I was stressed. I was still working on my last question when the time ran out. Here are my 3 tips. 3 tips for the exam. I, of course, live in Iceland, so I had to take it remotely. And just factor in the extra stress taking it remotely. The proctor might give you grief. He or she might be super strict. I had to spend I got in early. So you can log in 20 minutes early, and that's what I did. And I'm thankful for that because we spent 20 something minutes just with the camera, messing about, looking at different corners, setting up a certain angle that the proctor wanted. Totally understandable, not complaining. I'm just saying that you need to factor in both the stress of being at home. I had my dog barking. I had my kids walking around the door. That all just takes away from the attention. Not complaining, love them, but factor all these things in. And also just in the middle of the exam, I started to think, what if the power cuts out? Like all these things are mental gymnastics that factor in your ability to focus. Get really familiar with whatever text editor you choose to use. I use Vim. So just know with time management, copy pasting, deleting lines, jumping to this, searching for that, you need to be really familiar with whatever text editor you use. And so just because time management, I'm harping on that one, but that's for a reason. Number 3 is Ansible documentation. I keep harping on this. If you watch my playlist, any of my videos, you know that I use Ansible documentation for everything, like filters, keywords, modules. So definitely get used to that. That's going to save your bacon in the exam. And I'll just tell you one thing. I ran out of time for my last question, but as I was running out of time, I figured out what was the thing by using Ansible documentation, and I'll leave it at that. So Ansible documentation, get really familiar with that. So, of course, my playlist for the RHCE is going to be in the comments. And also, if you're studying for the Red Hat Certified Systems Administrator, my old version 9 playlist is also there. I would check that out as well because, to be honest, a lot of the stuff is probably still valid. But what's next? So here's what's next. If you've been following along the Linux Ninja channel, you know that I want to become an architect in enterprise Linux. So the Ansible, because of the changes in the certification path, check out that video. It's amazing. This was kind of like an off. I just had to finish this because I already started it. So it's not in the enterprise Linux certification path. So right now I am level 2. To become level 3, we have to finish this one, EX294. And certified advanced system administrator and enterprise exam. I've booked that. I'm taking that in August. So in a month or so, that I'm going to do a playlist probably for that. Yes, I am. Like, who am I kidding? Passing a certification is fun. And somebody might poo-poo certifications, but it's personal growth for me. It is something that I invested in. And I feel like I accomplished something. If you are second guessing that you should take a certification because somebody in your community or in your group says it's not cool, doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter. Do what you want to do. I'm not doing this to get a better job. I love my job. I do this because I want to keep growing and learning. And I know for a fact, because of who I am and what you might be different, But if I don't push myself, I'm just going to sit here, relax, drink coffee, and then I have a good job, and I don't care. And I don't want to do that. Thank you again. Until the next time. Bye.